A retired Lieutenant General Richard Newton joining us right now to analyze the Russia claims. Just as a reminder to our viewers, General Newton's distinguished career includes serving as the U.S. Air Force Assistant Vice Chief of Staff. Always good to see you. We have to talk about these reports. So the White House and others saying that Russia is not scaling back, just repositioning to lay claim for more territory in Ukraine. As a military strategy, wouldn't the Russians know this is pretty obvious and not stealthy?
Well, good morning, Adrienne. And let me just say right at the top, it's good to see Robert in studio. I've been following him for the last 5 weeks, seems like nonstop on air, and just exceptional reporting. If I was there, I'd pin a medal on him, but it's good to have him back safe and sound. Back to the, what's happening in terms of the negotiations and repositioning of forces and so forth. This is, again, another chapter of the Russian playbook to deflect and deceive, now in a different instrument of national power, and that's diplomacy. And so playing out in Istanbul and so forth, they're really trying to, again, take the narrative, if they possibly can, to announce that they're withdrawing their forces, putting them in the east and so forth. No, we need to always look at their capabilities and the results. And that's what I staked my career on. And I've negotiated with the Russians in several years or so ago. And again, they're not withdrawing, they're repositioning. They are still on their heels. So they're not really in a negotiated position of strength, but one of somewhat weakness. And so they're just trying to regroup at this point.
Well, Desmond Tutu famously said, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." Does it appear that the Russians are, and again, that was supposed to be an inspirational quote, but using it here for, again, a Russian army that is very overwhelmed by Ukrainian force. But would they go to the east, do you think? And is there any truth to the fact that they're trying to actually come upon half of that nation and just take it a bite at a time?
Well, I believe so. By the way, we can draw inspiration from President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, certainly during this conflict. But General Todd Walters, who's a Supreme Allied Commander of Europe, an Air Force four-star general, friend and colleague, testified in the Senate Armed Services Committee yesterday that Russian military has between 70 and 75% of their entire military now in Ukraine as part of the Ukrainian invasion and the conflict. So what that tells me is, yes, they'll try to perhaps reposition their forces, as John Kirby said at the Pentagon, but they'll do that to focus on Donbass, perhaps to look at maybe what could be future steps in terms of weeks and months at the negotiating table. Perhaps, here's a new thought, maybe maybe Putin's thinking about Korea. You've got North Korea and South Korea for decades, and perhaps is just trying to play some new cards diplomatically where he knows he's getting beat on the battlefield and having to regroup here. But let's make this really clear, Adrienne, from my perspective. The ultimate goal is to topple Ukraine. The ultimate goal is to remove Zelensky. The ultimate goal is to, again, not just do this in a part-time manner in terms of, geography with Ukraine, but it's to take all of Ukraine. And I believe that is still absolutely goal one of Putin. And therefore, that's how we should, again, our viewers should have to expect that this is not going to play out in the next weeks. It's going to be a bloody chess match for the next several months.
And you think about, when you are at a weaker position, like Russia has, again, reportedly been, it would make sense to maybe dance with the wrestling partner, right? You just wear them out. You make them really tired because you can't outmuscle them necessarily. So is Russia's tactic, you believe, just to make this as long and as much of a slog as possible to wear out the Ukrainian people and possibly their energy and their confidence?
I believe so. And again, that's another chapter in the Putin playbook. But this, if they want to, again, they're looking for a war of attrition over years, and that's a whole different calculus. Now, on the other side of that, this is where, again, U.S.-led NATO, European Union, G7, and other free nations need to pony up here and, again, provide defensive and offensive capabilities in terms of military support to Ukraine. That would include, I'm advocating MiG-29s, certainly the S-300s anti-aircraft weapons, more robust defense capabilities. That still needs to be on the table. And just because the momentum is shifting in Ukraine's favor at the moment, that doesn't necessarily, that can last, for weeks, much less months. So to take your point of your question, this is when we need to really stiffen our resolve, provide as much support as we possibly can for Ukraine's fight so that they will win rather than being at a position of appeasement through diplomatic talks.
Thank you so much, General Newton, for joining us once again. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.